In all seriousness, though, welcome to This Week I'm Learning, the podcast where our group of friends learn things throughout the week, sometimes hard lessons, and report our findings back to all of you fine folks across the interwebs. This is episode 62, our second episode of the third season, and if that makes no sense, it's okay. We are recording today, October 11th, 2021. I'm your host, Brandon Vader. Also known as Dracanis. Down below me, we have Cody Stratman, also known as Psychonitrous. In the corner, caddy corner to me, is Tim Rhind, also known as Fake Farang. And then directly next to me, we have Charlie Stiffler, also known as Mjolnir. We are missing Seeker this week. He had some real-life stuff he needed to take care of, so hopefully we'll be seeing him next week. But this week, Cody is going to tell us that he might be able to get back to Alaska a bit earlier, a bit easier soon.
Easier, not earlier. Not earlier.
Yeah. Easier.
That sounds like a terrible idea. You shouldn't do that. You should come to Colorado instead.
Why? It's getting ready to snow here.
It's already snowing in Alaska.
there.
Yeah. And Charlie is going to tell us, Charlie rather than Colton. Well, that's weird. Charlie is only made temporarily violent by playing Mario Kart, as much of us have, and that leads us to
that.
Yeah, a few games.
And then Tim is going to tell us. Tim is going to tell us all about cautiously watching before upgrading, unlike what he did before. Look, no leap, and don't follow Brandon down the rabbit hole.
No,
that's the lesson.
and that reference you're talking about, I think I know where the problem is. And actually, a lot of people are having that problem with the last upgrade, but that's a side story having to do with Windows 11 upgrading. That's not going to be what it is. But Brandon's topic today is hard lessons learned. Glass is just glass, and not all cards or code are created equal.
Sounds
All
interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there a back to my chair? I wouldn't know. I'm on the edge of my seat.
So
or it's just
Cody.
being rendered out.
Tell us about flying back to Alaska.
Well, first let's talk about what you guys do this week. Tell us a little bit. Nothing.
I worked 79 hours last week. That's what I've done.
That sounds
I
miserable.
forgot to tell you the best part. Alexis flew out of town to Arizona for a bike MS event that she was putting on in Phoenix, and thank God she didn't fly Southwest Airlines. Otherwise, she still wouldn't be back.
Oh, are they having staff issues?
Over 2,000 canceled flights from Friday on because of staffing issues and other things. I believe it has to do with staff doing walkouts because of the mandate for vaccination.
Mandatory vaccination. Yep.
Yeah,
They tried to blame it on the flight controllers, but it was not the ATC's fault.
I know that their president fought that for a while. He was actually against the mandated vaccines, and then kind of had to, because at least according to another podcast that I listened to that's all about aviation, they were talking about that, where most of the other airlines were like, yep, we're doing that, or Delta, where they were going, we're not quite doing that yet, but you're going to have to pay $200 per month for just extra for insurance if you have work insurance because you don't have the vaccine. Where it's like, I think that's kind of a happy medium. I know this topic is a bit controversial too. Not really a normal TWIL topic, but yeah. So yesterday I went to go get batteries and finally got quadruple A's for my Surface. That was fun. And then also found a place that sells FPV drone components here in Bangkok.
Really?
Yep. Unfortunately, though, the cost of the components has gone up because of at least some of the components because of the microchip shortage. So my flight controller was like double what it was before. But it's cool to have that.
The laptop I actually really want isn't going to be available until December, and then it's going to be pretty limited quantities.
So what's funny is a lot of the electronic stores actually are pretty well stocked here. Like I was looking for NVMe drives. I can get 2 terabyte NVMe drives. They're not cheap, but the laptops, so actually my laptop is actually a reasonable price here. Whereas Amazon, I had to pay extra to get my laptop several months ago, which I'm still glad I did because I needed it for quarantine. But yeah, before the show, we were kind of talking about how surfaces and batteries and quadruple A's and whatnot.
Yeah. See, and that is one thing I'm glad. So, Cody, Colton, and I all had Surface Pro 3s for a time.
Because of him.
Uh-huh.
Well,
Because of me, because they
Colton
followed me down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Cody and I both got the i7s. Colton got the i5. I sold mine after I had it for about 2 years. But I did pick up, if you've been watching for a while, I did pick up the Surface Go 2 with custom logo.
Yeah.
So far, my only complaints about it is it's not super performant, but I mean, for what it is, it's fine. But I'm starting to get some separation on the keyboard.
Yeah, because the keyboards
And
are
then-
crap. The Surface keyboards are complete overpriced BS. I love the Surface, but the keyboard... Look, watch this. Granted, this is several years old, but if I do this, watch what happens. See? Notice how part of the keyboard is now stuck in the Surface?
Oh,
Yeah. Now I can get it back together, but that's what happened. Also, the G key only works half the time, so instead of Googling things, I OOL things, which doesn't work quite as well. So, yeah, for $130, what I paid for that piece of bullshit, like, it's absolutely not worth it.
Well, and here's the problem. Like, no third-party company has been able to create
Bridge.
Does it actually use the pogo pins, not fucking Bluetooth? Because I don't want to have another thing in my backpack that I have to charge.
No, you're right. Bridge. I believe they have versions with a built-in, like, a big battery, though. So
anyone who's not familiar with the Surface, it uses 8 of these little copper pogo pins for its connectivity, and that powers the backlight and does your data back and forth. And, of course, your trackpad. It should basically be some sort of USB standard, honestly.
Yeah, this is, like, one of the reasons why you want a standard port for these things rather than proprietary bullshit. Because then you have...
Oh, you mean like the power connector for it?
Power
That's
connector.
It takes up one of the PCI lanes because you can get a dock for it.
I didn't even know
Give me
that.
Thunderbolt. Give me Thunderbolt. Now, that is one of the new things about the Pro... What are they on? Pro 8? It now has Thunderbolt rather than just USB-C with DisplayPort out.
Yeah.
It's full-fat Thunderbolt. So, you could get really crazy and get an external GPU and game on it just fine. Which is eventually kind of what I want to do. Because remember, I'm going back to that whole one device to rule them all philosophy. But, so, your stylus on the 3 takes AAAs. Mine
Quadruple A.
is quadruple A. Sorry. quadruple A. This is rechargeable, but it takes a special USB-C powered magnetic dock to charge it. And I was complaining before the show that it always seems like anytime I actually want to write on this device, because it will be in my backpack for days to like 2 weeks before I actually pull it out, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to take notes and write. It's dead. And yes, Charlie is showing us his Apple fanboy stuff over there. I mean, we've been showing Microsoft
that's a
fanboy.
cool way to store
Samsung,
that, Tim.
yes.
Yeah,
Samsung.
I like that.
Samsung.
Magnetic,
That's cool.
just to show you the different variations out there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually, I think
that's-
I like that storage version the best on the Samsung.
I wish that it was slightly smaller, and then I would make it red, and it would be Darth Vader's lightsaber. But that's my one complaint. Going from a Note 10,
Weird. Oh, is the
from a Note
stylus doesn't-
10 to the Fold 3. I love the Fold 3 because that is a lot bigger display to write on.
Yeah, you got yourselves a mini tablet.
But there's no
Place to put the pen.
storage for the slot, and it doesn't like magnetically attach. Like I could have dealt with it if it was like
Just get a case
flat surface
that has
pen
a
style.
magnet. Just get a case. There's probably a proprietary case out there that will allow you to do that.
There is a proprietary case, but it's got a stupid floppy cover on the front of it that then you have to like flip over to use the front screen. And then when you open it out, it would be just like
Extra
flapping back behind it, and that
Guess it's
just
to protect the front screen.
See, this
everyone
this is
who
why
has
yeah.
sorry, everyone who has reviewed that case is like, this is the stupidest fucking thing ever.
Yeah, this is why I almost want to get into designing accessories for phones or for GoPros,
Please,
stuff like that. Because
learn
this type of
CAD.
stuff- This
Learn CAD
Fusion 360.
and have
Fusion 360.
Yeah, I was filling around with that.
I bet
with my 3D
Peniel would
printer.
be willing to 3D print things for you, and if you're designing them for a device I have, I will test them for you. Happily.
I used
Please.
probably one of my favorite 3D printed items of all time this morning. So I was helping do the back of house training for all of the team medics for the Nuggets, the Broncos, the Avalanche, and one of the scenarios is a hockey player taking a puck to the throat, which is the purpose for us to be on the bench, which is to perform a cricothyrotomy, and you stick a tube right there. Very bloody mess. Well, I have 3D printed trachea.
Oh, that's
And-
cool.
Nice.
You gaffers tape some thin like subfloor material, folds over, gaffers tape. You slice, you stab, you stick in the tube. It's a great facsimile without all the gushing blood.
Yeah, I got a 3D printer.
Crikes are
sitting
not.
beside me.
They're very messy. Don't do them on the ice because you'll never get the blood up. It's bad. But 3D printed trachea, and there's a lot of detail, a lot of unnecessary detail there, but it's pretty cool.
That's a training apparatus. Okay, that's really cool.
Because the PLA doesn't get cut by the scalpel, you can use it dozens and dozens and dozens of times.
Nice. That's cool. Well, I guess I will get into my actual topic now. And I'm sure OneNote has locked me out. Oh my god, OneNote has not locked me out of my notes. I am super excited. So what I'm talking about is Alaska has a new startup airline. So it is owned by... So the startup airline is called Northern Pacific Airways. and it is owned by Float Alaska, which also bought out Raven, which is probably Raven, but I refuse to pronounce it that way because they don't have an E in their name, which is a notoriously, we'll just say, not good airline in Alaska, but they went under last year, early part of last year, and got bought out by this other company. Well, Northern Pacific Airways has a kind of unique-ish idea. What they want to do, and I might have actually talked about this a little bit on the podcast before as kind of a subtopic. What they want to do is buy 757s and fly them to places like Orlando, Las Vegas, New York, Oakland, which, okay, nothing groundbreaking there, but also to Seoul, Tokyo, Nagoya, and Osaka.
Wow.
Which is from Anchorage, which is very different because right now the only international flights that go out of Anchorage are on Finnair or Iceland Air and Condor going over to Europe. So incidentally, for passengers, if you're a box, I have said this many times on the podcast, it's super easy to get to Asia, but not if you're a passenger until potentially next year, next September. So they have actually, and a lot of people, including one of the other podcasts that I listen to, shout out to to Dots, Lines, and Destinations. They were even kind of questioning whether this would actually happen, but they've received their first 757, and this is one of 6 that they've purchased from American Airlines that they've retired, during the pandemic times. So this came from New Mexico, and this first one is the tail number is November 206 Uniform Whiskey, in case anybody wants to track that. And they should have received it by now. And that aircraft is a nice 26.5 years old. So, aging like a fine wine. So what they want to do is fly these with no more than 180 seat capacity. What they're calling is a low-cost business model, which generally those things, low cost and business, don't go together. So they're not doing any lie flat beds. They're going to have a small premium economy cabin, but this is still going to be a less dense version of a 757 layout, considering the 757 can have 239 seats. Now, I don't think anybody wants to fly on a single 757 with 239 seats, but it can have that, but not at the range that they're talking about. So, when they're for instance, United flies their longest route on a 750, or the longest route that they have flown on a 750, or the longest route that a 757 has flown was from Newark to Berlin, which is just over 4,000 nautical miles with 169 seats. So they're talking about 180 seats, so 10 or 11 more than what this is talking about. So we'll see. Now, with that, the 757 is actually rated for 3,850 nautical miles, or 7,130 kilometers, with the 239 seat capacity. So in order to get that over 44,000, you have to cut seats, cut weight. So it kind of leads people to speculate what potential markets are. With that range, you could hit interesting places like St. Petersburg. You could hit the upper Scandinavian countries. So you could hit Finland, you could hit Norway, you could hit Sweden, you could hit Estonia, you could hit Beijing, but there's other issues when you're talking about flying into China. One of them, which is basically whether or not the Chinese government will let you fly into first-class cities. So there's pretty much no way in hell that Northern Pacific Airways, unless they know somebody there or something, is going to get slots into Beijing. But there's some other cities that they could get into China, Tianjin, Harbin. So, I mean, if things change dramatically in geopolitics, they could go to Pyongyang. But I don't see that happening. That would be a hell of a route. Anchorage to Pyongyang.
I think Fallout called and they want their plot line back.
So this is just very intriguing to me. I
Just wonder who the
don't.
investors are in this.
Yeah,
Who invests in something that's
I
risky?
don't know. I mean, they've got the money, obviously, since they're buying the planes. The planes are 10 million each. I don't know if that's including engines or not. I'm kind of thinking not for those. Yeah, it's just weird to me. I don't know if they're going to be an Alaska Airlines partner. They're kind of in some ways competing against Alaska Airlines with their domestic routes, so I don't know if... I mean, right now, Raven is an Alaska Airlines partner, which is the other airline that this big group, or this group Float owns, but I don't know if Northern Pacific Airways would be an Alaska Airlines partner. So, again, it kind of leads me to wonder whether I would actually fly them or not. I mean, it would cut the time that it takes me to get to Anchorage down substantially. I mean, that would save me at least 9 hours on the shortest possible trip. Even just me going from Bangkok to Seoul to Seattle to Anchorage, like that, Anchorage to Seoul, then kind of back across. That's about, when you consider layover and everything, that's about 9 hours worth of travel time. So I mean, it is kind of a compelling, route to take, but without lie flat beds, I don't know who they're going to be particularly attracting as far as business people, because typically they want to sleep on the airplane so they are refreshed for the next morning. So we'll see. It is interesting though. It's a new fascinating one. And then the other thing that I learned this week is that the BTS trains in Bangkok, the way that they are numbered is like one part is 20, so it'll be like 1951, and then the next car will be 2951, and there's 4 cars, so that on the other end, this end will be like 1851, and then the next one will be 2851. So basically the other ones will be the teens, then the twos, but this side will be 8s, this side will be 9s.
I know when they buy their
I'm
trains.
So
I know when they buy their trains, they buy them as a 4-car set.
yeah,
So
and
that-
they
so that's
have the
the thing I do know.
capacity to on the platforms to have 6 cars, and this is
Yeah,
what
yeah.
everybody's always, debated about, is why they don't use 6 cars. Because non-COVID times, they would be super not like Tokyo crammed, where they've got people like pushing people in the cars, but pretty crowded. During COVID, I've had no complaints as far as crowding on the cars. It hasn't been that bad.
Yeah, a lot of people working from home still.
Yeah. Anyway, those are the things that I've learned this week, and that Bangkok has an FPV drone store. So It's been a rather productive week for me.
Nice.
Well, Charlie, why don't you tell us about Mario Kart and our childhood and
Yeah. So,
anger?
a topic that piqued my interest recently was, we've been talking a lot about video games, and I've been trying to think about ways to integrate that into the conversation a little bit more. And one of the biggest, most permeating components of video games is the stigma of all of the things that they make you bad at or make you
Cause
less,
societal issues.
yeah, societal issues or personal health issues or whatever. So this week I am approaching the taboo topic that is video games or violent video games cause violence in real life, and this is been a pervasive element of our childhood upbringing in video games. Very stigmatic.
It's funny. I actually did a speech on this in high school, and one
Nice.
place I did this speech was actually Columbine. After
Well, the Twitter sphere here
and
in
you're
Thailand.
stealing my notes because that's going to be in about 5.5 minutes. So you're just going to wait.
okay,
Wait.
The Twitter sphere in Thailand is making a big statement.
1976, the American Safety Council commented on a very highly pixelated game called Death Race, which is literally like the tiniest little meeple guy running around, and you're driving this little meeple car, trying to run them over. And there's no blood, there's no guts, there's not even color, and they called it Sick, Sick, Sick. 1976. Then the
maybe it was
1990s
slang.
happened.
Like, man, that's slick.
No.
Not
The
yet,
1990s
that's
happened,
Sick,
and then
sick, not
this, very small video game franchise known as Mortal Kombat came up,
slick. Oh,
and
Mhm.
to quote Senator Joe Lieberman, former presidential candidate in the United States, that these games teach children to enjoy inflicting the most gruesome forms of cruelty imaginable. Okay, fair enough.
I haven't seen somebody Sub-Zero somebody else yet. Waiting for that one.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to do in
Yeah.
real life.
I got to interrupt just for a second. In Thailand right now, there's a big thing on Twitter saying that the Thai police are saying that they're afraid for Thai society because of Squid Game, the TV
of
show.
what?
Because of
Squid
Squid Game,
Game.
the TV Netflix. Yeah, so it's sort of the same. The
Do you
same
live
thing.
under a rock? You
Yeah.
don't internet?
Apparently.
You need to look up Squid Game.
Yeah.
Even if
It's
you just
super
watch
popular.
the 15-minute quick summation of what Squid Game is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't
it's-
seen
Anyways.
it, but it's on my
Sorry.
list of
It's-
things to
Carry on,
watch.
please.
It's a Korean subtitled thing. You'll like it.
There's a lot of good
Um,
Korean shows. Anyway, sorry. Go
Oh, yeah.
go back.
So there are some studies that really Columbine really is one of the flashpoints, like this unimaginable heinous act, and basically everyone went looking for reasons why. And unfortunately, video games are a very easy scapegoat. Which a lot easier to address than societal inequality, educational opportunity
Yeah.
inequality,
Mental health.
mental health
Yeah.
taboo.
Started with Black Sabbath music too. I mean everything.
Oh yeah, I mean everything.
AC/DC,
you
Highway to
listen to
Hell.
it backwards. It's satanic chants, bullshit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But some studies were saying that violent games cause a temporary increase in aggressive thoughts and behaviors. But some of these studies were really super flawed, and they didn't actually measure things that most people would consider actually violence or aggression. Like one of the studies isolated whether you were more likely to put hot sauce on an unsuspecting person's food as a result of playing video games. Yeah, how fucking abstract is that? That they were so poorly executed, and the ones that are like, "Ooh, smoking gun makes you more violent," 2% increase, a 2% increase in violent tendencies in these poorly, very highly flawed study. Yeah, bullshit. And what they were actually finding, using empirical data, that racing games and real life sports create the same 2% increase in violence.
So
Which,
GTA and Madden have the same violence level.
No. I'm not talking Madden football game. I'm talking like high school go
life.
play football.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
get
Yeah,
out of
so-
your fucking house and play sports ball. Like that. I mean, I played hockey. Those guys have problems. Like I
Would
would
you
much
like a sports ball?
Yeah, I used to feel more
Uh,
aggressive even after running.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I mean, that's
So
natural.
there's actually an inverse relationship between the increase in video game sales in the United States over the last 30 years and the violent crime rate. They're an inverse relationship. One's going up, the other is going down, and well, let's be fair, the violence rate is going down, plateauing, going down, plateauing, plateauing. And another study, actually, this is co-authored by the Secret Service, that school shooters are actually less likely to meet the median or mean consumption of violent video games as compared to their peers. So they are less likely to have utilized or grossly consumed violent video games compared to their non-school shooter peers. Columbine, there was this big flashpoint about Columbine, and the
More
Parkland
on
shooter. The Parkland shooter played 10 hours a day of this game. $100 if you can guess it. 10 hours a day, consistently.
Pokemon.
DDR, Dance Dance Revolution.
Oh my god.
Which, if
When
you've
I
ever
think
played this
DDR,
game,
I think
yeah, it makes you homicidal.
murder.
This
Yep.
is the only conclusive thing I found, is DDR makes you homicidal.
Yeah, but
That's why
it should
Japan
make you
has the
want to
highest
destroy the
homicide
machine.
rates in the world.
So, if you look at developed countries that actually consume video games at a higher per capita rate than the United States, look at Japan, which has a 96 times lower crime rate per capita. Violent crime is dramatically, almost 100 times less prevalent than in the United States.
I mean, and look at Thailand too. Like almost every young person here, maybe not plays consoles or PC, but phone games
Oh, yeah.
here, just crazy prevalent. And yeah, I've said it before. I'm not afraid to go walk out at 2 a.m. Well, right now I am because there's curfew, but normally, yeah, walk out 2 a.m. no problem.
Yeah. So there is barely any correlation, and the most reasonable conclusion is that there is a temporary increase in aggressive thoughts or behaviors. And I'll say this, like spiking the controller, yelling at you, walking out of the room has definitely never happened at your house, Cody. Never. Never. Playing Quake or Unreal Tournament.
Nobody has just picked up a mouse and crushed it at your house ever.
That
No
wasn't
one
at
has
my
ever
house.
just
That was
left
at
all of his
Dennis's.
personal belongings behind and said, "Fuck you guys, I'll be back later."
Land
Yeah,
parties.
never. Or hours of my life spent playing a who can build the better turret defense Supreme Commander game, only to be nuked out of existence because no one actually checked the box of no nukes, and everyone just assumed there was no nukes until nuclear launch detected. Nuclear launch detected. Nuclear launch detected. Fuck you, Tyler Edom.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Junebug.
So, there's my topic for the week: violence in video games. There is too many violins and saxes on TV. No one? Gilda Radner, SNL? No, okay.
I have
Read a
no
book,
idea.
people.
Yep. No clue.
Never mind.
But No, I
All right.
did this speech in high school at Columbine, and it pretty much came to the same conclusions. Yeah, it's if anything, it's a stress reliever, not something where you pent up and then go release that stress somewhere else.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely agree with the stress relief, like the pressure valve, because you can hop into a game and just be like, I feel like blowing shit up, and you can blow shit up in a game and be like, okay, that was fun.
No
I've been playing a lot
consequences.
Okay, I
of
guess
this.
I'm going to go do this.
I've been playing a lot of this recently. This is Hearts of Iron, which is basically a World War II simulator where you can play any country in the entire world, command their armies, and do all that stuff. And the other game I've already told you a lot about is Halo. And Infinite's not out yet, but man, what it is.
That's where an infinite amount of time is going to go. Yeah, they had Citizen Con. We'll talk about that in the after.
Yes, yes, we will.
Stay after if you want to hear more about interesting game stuff. But I think it might be Tim's turn.
Tim.
To tell us
Yeah,
about
okay.
maybe not jumping into things or learning from that experience.
Yeah.
Still
Oh,
jump.
no.
But
No, that's not
learn
my
while
topic.
jumping.
I know what you're referring to. It's not my jump into
Oh,
Windows 11.
okay.
No. But he knows I'm stable this week, anyways. I mean, the computer's stable. I mean, maybe not me, but the computer's stable.
I'm knocking on
Okay.
wood.
Okay. Yeah, right. There we go. I have the GoPro 9. I also have the GoPro 7. There is now a GoPro 10. I've been watching that. It seems pretty good, but I usually skip a generation before I upgrade.
Yeah,
And I'm hearing a lot of people having problems with. It does much higher resolutions.
It's faster.
It's better. It's faster. But I'm also hearing a lot of people saying it's overheating and it's crashing.
Yeah. I will
So-
say I used it they had a display model at one of the malls here, and I checked it out for a few minutes, and it was dramatically faster. You know, if
Right.
you've got like the quick mode on, it
Yeah.
just turned on, like a second or two later, it's actually shooting.
Yeah.
It's not that big lag. Sorry,
But
go ahead.
as you know, a lot of people have had problems with memory cards, or we believe it's a memory card issue, and GoPro's locking up. So
Specifically
I don't
with the
know if it's going to
7,
still happen
Yeah.
with this one. I've had it happen with the 6. I had it happen with I've had it happen with no, I had the 5. I skipped. I had the 5. I also had it happen with the 5.
I've
But-
had it happen with my 9. See, I have the 7 and the 9 as well, and the 9's been pretty bomber as far as that. I mean, everybody who's watched the podcast has witnessed,
Yeah.
my screen lock up and stuff too, and that's the 9 that I'm recording on. The
Right.
7 is my FPV drone camera, but there are still definite issues with the 9, but not the memory card issue. That's a weird and very annoying issue.
Yeah. So some people we know who are very good at video, like Ethan on his channel, he switched to the Osmo Action, and that's working out very good for him. But that came out about the time of the GoPro 7, and it came out with the GoPro 7, and it was the first one with the front screen. But there's now rumor, it's been leaked, there's going to be a new Osmo Action 2. I'm just not.
It's smaller form factor.
It is a smaller, and I'll show you the one of the leaked pictures, and there it is.
Yeah, like the GoPro Session. I
Yeah.
am actually
Ooh.
excited about this for a FPV drone perspective,
Right.
because that's gonna be awesome, lighter weight. So I'm. Oh, nice! So you've got the Session in there. So the Session is the middle one, and then of course, so the Action is actually smaller. Looks like
Yeah.
in depth than the Session.
But the interesting
That's
thing
cool.
about this is it's going to be a modular, and I got some times and some battery times here. 56 grams for the camera, the way you saw it. But it's going to be a modular that you can add an extra screen, which also has extra power, and that just adds 64 grams. And then there's
So-
also, you can also add another module, which is an external battery.
So they're going like Insta360
Yeah,
kind of.
yeah, like
with
the 1R.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's fascinating. That's cool.
So, but if you want strict, from what this release is, if you want the highest specs, you're probably going to have to go the GoPro, because it's going to 4K 60 frames per second in this DJI, and the slow mo is 4K 120, whereas the GoPro is 4K 120 frames per second. But the thing is, I think if they can make it stable, and if it's supposed to have better low light than their previous one, 1.7 CMOS sensor. So we'll just see that battery time with the extra screen is 135 minutes. With the extra battery, it's 195 minutes.
That's
And
pretty substantial. Did they say at what resolution and frame rate?
no, I don't have that, because this is a
So it's
leaked
probably 1080.
manual. A
Okay,
leaked
so it's-
manual.
They're probably talking about 1080 30 or 1080 60 maybe for those times.
So even though they aren't as high a resolution or speed as the newest GoPro, it could be interesting. If I think if they can
Oh,
be stable, very stable, and do what they do right, then they may still sell okay.
Everybody who is in the FPV drone community is going to be instantly interested in this camera. I can tell you that.
Okay.
Because
Sorry,
weight
just
is flight
step
time.
aside from my audio to show you a few pictures they have here. That's about it, I think. Yeah. So I'm just going to wait and see, of course, what the reviews are like, and if it's even accurate. Who knows? With the release of the GoPro, maybe they want to modify it a bit more. Maybe they want to tweak it. But they seem to be very slow at bringing new models of cameras. The DJI Pocket 2, that took a long time from the DJI Pocket to come out, and it's a much better improvement over the Pocket. I have that one as well. I really enjoy that. The audio is really good on that one. So that is pretty much my topic, unless you have any questions. I'll try to see if I have any answers.
That's very interesting, and one of the things that I am learning and enjoying about being in a big city now is that, you know, when you're in a small town, you can't put hands on these products before you buy them. You just have to kind of trust and buy. Where now I can go somewhere and touch it and go, oh, okay. And that's why I'm not going to get the GoPro 10, because it's a very incremental upgrade versus, you know, the 7 to the 9 or even the 8 to the 9 was quite
and it's things I may not really use most of the time anyways. And if it's stable in the 9, then I'll just keep on using the 9 for now.
Yeah.
But
I'm very interested in this camera. Like, as long as I can 3D print, you know, mounting bracket for it, then
right.
And if it's at a reasonable price point, then I will probably be getting one. Yeah.
That's what they've been. They commented in one of the reviews as reading is exactly what you're saying, that people with who do FPV drones are going to be enjoying them a lot. Also, I'll put the links in the show notes.
Everybody who's in the FPV scene has been looking for a good camera and typically buys. The reason why the Session 5 is still expensive online and hard to find is because of the FPV drone community. Because just buying them all up whenever, and there's some other cameras made by you know, the analog manufacturers that make the main camera that you see through that have tried to make cameras like Caddx and I'm spacing out on some of the other brands, but they're just not anywhere close to as good quality as like the GoPro.
And with a battery time of 52 minutes, that's more than enough for an FPV drone.
Oh Oh yeah, way more than enough. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited.
They're predicting this quarter, actually, the last quarter of 2021. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Will be cool. Especially with the chip shortage and stuff. It's interesting to see them get this out. Yeah, we'll see what the price point is.
So I'll carry on there, and I'll introduce Brandon's topic. Hard lessons learned. Glass is just glass, and et cetera, et cetera. Go on, carry on.
Are you talking about the Google Glass?
No.
Cards or code? Guess we'll find out.
I am talking about my brand new Fold 3 that had a collision with concrete.
Oh no. Oh no.
That's so sad to see. Oh.
Do you want to know how many times and how far I've dropped this thing?
And you have a case on it, right?
Yeah, and for the first year that I had it, all I had was the edge case. Like,
and the
nothing
edge case,
protecting the cameras.
Judging
now
by
I
where
switched it.
He has got that cracked. If he had an edge case, or
it would have been fine. If I would have been using my cheap clear case, I would have been fine. But I hate the feel of this cheap hard plastic, and it's just as slick as the glass. So now I have a Spigen case for it that I ordered when I bought the phone, but because all of the cases for this phone were back ordered, it came in the day I dropped it.
Oh no.
Oh, that's insult to injury.
Now here's the good thing. I do have a protection plan on this phone because this is a fucking expensive phone. Normally, like with my Note 10, I didn't have protection on it, even though it was an expensive phone, but because it took a standard style case and I was able to get a case and screen protector the day I grabbed it, I never put a protection plan on it.
Yeah.
The only problem is I have to wait 2 more weeks for my 30 days to elapse so that I can actually put in a repair request.
What Gorilla Glass is on that? Or is this, am I jumping into
Gorilla Glass Invictus, which is supposed to be the toughest glass ever.
Okay,
this
so that's
was
the same as my phone.
Yeah. It was a 2-foot drop onto concrete.
And did you have, is that a screen protector on it too, or it? So I had a screen protector
so
too.
it had the factory hard plastic screen protector, which I actually liked the feel of it. I put a cheap screen protector back on it. I mean, you can see the bubbles and crap in it, just because like this corner is just destroyed.
Crumble.
Like I sliced my finger open trying to because the thing I was worried about is like, oh God, what if one of those glass shards interacts with the plastic interior screen?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I guess
so.
At least it's an exterior screen that's,
Exactly.
That's
and
not
it's
the
not
screen,
like
though.
this is the only screen, and this screen still works perfectly. Even the touch up by the corner works fine.
Okay.
It's spider webbed up top, and it's
Yeah.
So that's my experience with Invictus. I watched like the drop tests and like the durability tests and all that, and I was like, it'll be fine until I get a case for it. But this phone slides out of every pair of shorts I own. I happened to be wearing a pair of shorts that day. I was taking my dog to the vet. And normally I pull it out and immediately put it in my cup holder because my phone has Google Auto, Android Auto. So normally I immediately take it out, put it in the little like specially designed cell phone holder area, plug in, and I'm playing music and everything else off of it. I didn't because I was only going like half a mile to drop my dog off for surgery,
And then open the
and
door.
it slid halfway out of this pair of shorts. I moved, sat up, and it just launched itself onto the concrete. So, and then I got to pay nearly $1,500 for surgery for my dog that day too. So,
Yeah, that's a bad day. That's a bad day.
I mean, it wasn't a bad day. I still have my dog. My dog
True.
is still,
That's-
my dog is now happy and healthy and
That's
Shouldn't
true.
have cancer again.
It could have been a worse day. So
But,
yeah,
yeah.
that's something that I worry about. Like one thing I worry about living in Thailand is the hard surf. I love the hard surfaces here. You know, there's not any. Well, there's a throw rug, but otherwise there's no carpet in my condo. But between like all the hard surfaces in the condo and dropping anything.
Usually granite countertops as well.
Yeah, dropping anything or being outside and like as I'm messing with my phone, noticing the grate that leads to an unfathomable depth of, you know, whatever is down there. Like and like just clutching my phone tightly. Like what would happen if it slipped right now or slipped in between the elevator? Like that gets to my head.
elevator.
A friend had
their
their phone dropped, her iPhone dropped between the gap of the elevator into the bottom of the shaft.
Tink, tink, tink. Tink, tink. Explosion.
And then oh fuck.
Hey Cody, you remember that apartment? The very roofy apartment that you had, and
Yeah.
I was zipping up after using your toilet and popped my little slider phone out of my pocket into your toilet and flushed.
You actually
You remember that?
flushed?
Do you remember me flushing my phone?
No, I don't remember it.
Yeah, I flushed. I flushed my phone, and it went into the sewer system. Like bye.
Wow.
Oh,
Jeez.
yeah.
It was my little black and orange, vertical slide up. Not standard. Still have to push buttons like the
Yeah, the old text.
numeric text.
T9, what do they call it?
Yeah, the T9.
Oh, T9.
Oh my god.
Oh no, it wasn't a T9. I gotta find it. God damn it.
No. T9 was the
type
yeah,
of
phone
yeah,
typing,
Yeah, which was
where you had
slightly better than regular, but I'm so happy we don't live in those days anymore.
but you know the one thing is I used to be able to like under a desk without looking like respond like hey busy call you back later.
Yeah, but you've got the Google like automated responses now that you can use.
If you set it up.
Just saying that.
Okay.
That's a hell of a lot more effort than just being like
Really?
somebody
Then
text
hitting
me.
one button 3 times and memorizing what those combinations are? That's
hey, I
easier?
still remember those combinations, which is why I
that
can
shit's
look at
hardwired,
it,
man.
This is
What is your card
1970,
topic?
eat beef. Like I can see those kind of ads and be like, "Oh, I know what numbers those are."
So I'm curious, what is the rest of your topic though? You had talked about cards? Or did I miss it?
Yes.
Oh.
So that
multi-part.
yeah, multi-part.
It's
So
3 parts.
this was supposed to be a lot quicker than it was. I just wanted to be like, don't be a dumbass. Put a case on your expensive phone. I was trying to, but I was just like, I'm gonna use it. Did yours come with a case?
Yeah, mine came with a case, and it came with the
That's-
glass protector. And it was the first thing that I did. I took the phone with the like plastic on it to the mall here, and I paid somebody 50 baht to put the. I'm like, okay, I know I'm not buying this from you, but what's a good price here?
Yeah.
Oh, I can give you $1.50 US for your expertise in putting this on with no bubbles. Like,
Yeah.
I'm good for that. That's absolutely a good way to spend my
Yeah.
money here.
It was a
wish
Sony
that
Ericsson. My phone that I
Oh,
flushed was a Sony Ericsson.
those were the shit back in the day. Those were
They
good.
were.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I wish that every single manufacturer, I wish that they would include a simple either like black or clear case
Oh yeah.
with every phone and a screen protector. Now, the Fold has
I mean,
already
that's all it
pre-applied
is.
screen protectors. Yeah. Um, yeah, just like I hate the fact that it didn't come with a charger. Now, granted, I had a 25
Mine
watt
did.
fast charger from
Yeah.
my Note 10, but
That seems to be
still,
the new thing with flagship
that was a
phones.
really nice phone back in the day. I remember seeing that and being like, I kind of want that. But I had the like titanium businessman flip phone
I
at
actually
that
had
point.
one of those too. Yeah, I had issues
I'll
with
be
my
right back.
Ericssons though.
Okay.
Sometimes life calls. Yeah, I had so many issues. I had the white screen of death on each Ericsson I owned. And it was when I was trying to transfer photos off via the Ericsson cable to always get the WSOD on those. And it was that was a pain. But at least they were, relatively cheap because it was the carrier that pretty much bought with you. You got I think that's a singular model there. But yeah, that was good times. Anyway, Brandon, regale us with the rest of your topics.
Okay, so my other topic has to do with high-end video cards that are being destroyed by a certain game. Does anyone know the game?
I remember reading something about this and then forgetting what it was. And it's something popular. It's something pretty
That
popular.
I just started playing.
Is it New World?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
Specifically 3090s, 3080s, and 2080s.
So not 3070s, so my laptop's okay.
I don't know of any internal cards that have been having these issues.
Okay.
It's all been like add-in PCI cards.
Hmm.
So it's a twofold problem. The code is not optimized, so it will push full frames as much power as it can, even during menu scenes.
So people that leave their computer on the menu all the time, just forever. I know people that will go to sleep with their fucking game on the menu.
Yep.
And those people deserve dead cards. I'm sorry. Unpopular opinion, but okay, maybe not.
So,
that's harsh. That's
yeah,
harsh. But
that's harsh. Now, a system crash and it takes them back to the login screen, that's fine. But it shouldn't cause damage to your hardware. So the code's unoptimized, and that's on Amazon because it's Lumberyard. Now, this is all, there's some legacy code from Crysis in there because that's what Lumberyard is the Crysis engine. So
yeah,
there's some
CryEngine.
CryEngine, sorry.
Or CryEngine 3 or whatever fucking version of it is. Yeah.
I don't know. So
4.
4.
Okay.
So there's unoptimized code that is pushing these graphics cards to the absolute extremes, even when it's not really necessary for gameplay or experience.
Come on, the menu's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, so the menu of this game, there is a rendered scene behind your menu tiles.
Yeah, a lot of games are doing that. But
Right.
you shouldn't have to be actively rendering a video, Anyway.
And why does your menu screen need to be 700 frames per second?
I mean, whoever has the fastest menu screen wins. It is known.
Then I'm okay losing. But I mean, the other part of this is also the software for the graphics cards, because it allows it to, overclock it to, make as much power as possible. So you've got these cards that are like overclocking themselves on menu scenes. And what it's part of that process is also overvolting. And that's where the issue comes in, is because what's happening is there are weak solder joints on MOSFETs on these cards that are then being exposed by the poor software of the graphics card and the poor software of the game, that is allowing these cards to draw more power than those solder joints are rated for, and it's desoldering MOSFETs
For
on
longer, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's basically the opposite of reflowing your graphics card, which was the. It's interesting. I noticed that you didn't mention any AMD cards when you were talking about this.
I couldn't find any definitive proof of any AMD cards that were having this issue. So I don't know if it's
or
because
there's just way less AMD cards out there right now too. So
exactly.
It could just be it's more obscure.
Yeah, because I mean your 3090s, 3080s, and 2080s are all what, 500 watt cards or something just insane.
Yeah.
And
So if you're
that's
gonna
where the
overvolt
issue's coming
something
in.
like that, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the power draw on the AMD cards are right now. I haven't researched them in a while. So.
Yeah, that was something I was researching personally, because
You're playing it.
yeah, and I have a 2070 Super in my machine, and it's like, well, are those being affected? And if any of you are really interested in learning more about this, JZ2 Cents has several videos where he kind of goes like, look, here's what's happening. It's both of these guys' fault, and nobody's really taking ownership and fixing it.
Of course not. Of course not, because there's a monetary value involved in taking ownership of this, so nobody is.
Now,
so it'll get fixed. It'll get fixed, but nobody's going to say it was their problem. It's going to get discreetly fixed here in the next couple of weeks. That's what I anticipate.
This issue has been going on since open beta. Now they New World did add in. Huh?
Well, the game has gotten more popular, like substantially more popular lately. So.
Well, it's officially released now, and yeah, it is very popular. It's yeah, I freaking love that game. Like, it is my new favorite game. I played almost 20 hours over the course of 2 days.
Sorry, I stepped out for a moment there. What game is this?
New World. I will be getting it once I can figure out how to change my Steam store to Thailand, but I have to have a Visa card or a True Money wallet in order to do that. In order to get a Visa card or True Money wallet, I need a work permit, or I need some sort of document from my school.
No. You can get at least at my bank. You can get my banking card is also a Visa card.
Okay, then I need to talk to my bank.
And it works as an online credit card. But anyways, sorry.
That's specific to us. We can talk about it later. That's been something I've screamed about in my condo by myself, to myself.
Out of curiosity, why do you want to change the Steam store to Thailand? Is it actually cheaper game prices over there too?
So yeah, it's like half the price here.
Yeah.
Less than half the price.
once you get that set up, you are gonna be the official purchaser of
Oh,
games.
here's the thing though. Gifting is
You can't
it
gift
depends.
across country lines.
Yeah, it only if it's the same price. It's or like there's certain things like because
Like we
I
can gift him
remember
games, but
Waza,
he can't gift us games.
Yeah, it gets weird.
Right. So this, I am saying for Penny. I have bought her several
Ah.
games.
Okay.
At the
So-
American price, and so okay, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that
And
sucks.
her laptop is not quite up to snuff to play New World.
Yeah, and that's a rough way to find out.
Yeah. But that's all right, because I'm still going to play my version of New World. I have really been enjoying it. And I also kind of want to tie gaming over into, we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, Star Citizen.
Oh,
There was a
it's
big-
not gonna be for the end notes. It's we're doing this.
I want to do
Live?
it right now.
All right, we'll
because-
do it right now. Yeah.
So, earlier in the show, I had this background, which is, I actually used this background, which is the Banu Merchantman negotiation room.
That's appropriate, Mjolnir. That's appropriate for that.
Yeah. This
That
is
is
actually
not-
the background I use at work on Teams.
Yeah.
And I give,
You have to
like,
get a new one.
I give so much credit to anyone else that I conference with that's like, oh, hey, is that? And it's like, yes, it is.
You've had
This is
wow.
no longer what it's going to look like. And I'm a little bit sad, but also a little bit happy because this is the new Banu Merchantman negotiation room.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get more crewmates. You need more friends.
I need so many more friends. You guys are just not enough.
Between your
Fuck
stupid
yourself.
hospital ship, your like
I
I just want my pocket
I-
carrier.
you can get it now.
I
you
know,
can get
yeah.
it now.
I'm not
Yeah.
paying $500.
This could actually be a pocket carrier now because now it has a hanger.
Yeah, it's got a hanger from what? Okay, but they actually
What, a
have
Merlin?
the purpose built. No, the
No,
Banu
Defender.
Yeah, the Defender.
But
actually
I bet you could slot 2 arrows into it if you were really careful.
you'd have to park them. Not like this, but you'd have to park them like this. Yeah.
You should try to
Yeah.
translate this for people who aren't Star Citizen players.
Okay, so this
Okay,
is Star
so-
Citizen, and in this game, everybody's always, when a new big ship comes out, everybody's like, what can fit in
Does
it?
it fit?
Yeah.
What fits?
And,
what
and
can
then
we
there's
force
like
into it?
videos,
Can you fit 64 gray cats in it?
which is a little buggy, which is a golf cart.
Okay.
But, like,
It's a golf cart.
and why we're talking about it right now is CitizenCon just happened, which was online this year, and they released a plethora of information and new ships, and Brandon's ship that was already big apparently has grown and morphed, and
Oh, okay.
so
It is now.
so
It's a capital ship.
yeah.
I now own 2 capital ships.
Yep. And so it's this game has been like the love-hate child of all of our dreams and nightmares for the last
Yep.
since 2013.
Mhm.
So yeah.
8 years.
Yeah.
8 years.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I
has it
have
released yet?
owned
Oh, no, it
this
hasn't.
ship. I have
7.
owned this ship for 7. No, more than that. 7.5 years.
Okay, yeah, I guess it might have come out like November of that year.
The Merchantman was actually one of the original concept ships.
Yeah, no,
But
not
it
the,
came
not the
out-
original. It was like
It was one of.
Yeah, it was like the Wave 2 ships. Yeah.
Yep. But it was still back when it was on Kickstarter, before it had moved to its own page. You could get the Banu Merchantman for $250. I
Yep.
paid $350 for it when it came back out.
And that's gonna be a fucking steal, because that ship is
Oh,
going to
yeah.
be like 900 now.
Wow.
Oh, more. It's going to be more. It has a hangar. It has 5 decks.
But it's not military. They've typically been
Yeah.
fairly generous on
But
the
it's
price
alien.
of non-military. Oh yeah,
But
there's
it's
an alien
alien.
tax. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Major alien tax. But yeah, so this thing is
Tim's
huge
just
now.
like, what the hell?
Right.
It's
No,
beautiful and gorgeous.
Just kind of late to the game if I got into it.
I've got my
so-
$35 starter ship.
No, you're
Right.
not late to. That's the thing. Incidentally,
It's not out.
you are not.
It's not
yeah,
out,
It's
so
in alpha or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, money.
That's
me
okay.
Get...
Like he's proven at this point, we have not enough crew and too many ships. So anybody who gets into this game and wants to be our friend is welcome. Take a
Join
turret,
us.
take a station, take a whatever. Like we
If
we
you-
need your blooded body, pixelated body to sit somewhere and do something, not to fly another goddamn ship.
Do you have a pulse and are you an asshat? If the answer is yes and no, join us.
We want to
Yeah.
be surrounded by
And-
assholes.
And even if you're
Okay.
an asshat, as
You'll
long
have to
as you're
send me-
only an asshat to people that aren't your friends, then I will buy you an in-game shotgun and you can be a security guard on my
Okay,
ship.
Cody, you have to web FaceTime, whatever we call it in these days, with me, and we'll
Stream.
see if I can start.
Yeah, no.
Let me send you a referral code. As a matter of fact, Cody, you and I ought to put, like, for this last section, as we start talking about Star Citizen,
my
like, right
God.
underneath us,
This is gonna
just
be,
do it.
You know,
Stream
one of those
your
like
referral
just for the
crazy-
memes, just for the
crazy,
memes.
Just
Our like right here needs to be our star code.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
yeah, because
God,
Cody
you're
and I
desperate.
are both concierge, which means we've spent more than $1,000 in game. I think we've talked at one point on this game, this stream, how much we've spent. It's an embarrassing amount. But again, over 8 years, and in that 8 years, I have not paid for a subscription game. So
Yeah.
before this, I was paying for 3 accounts on EVE Online because I had my main box, a mining box, and then basically I would join different groups and snoop around, and when we were doing factional warfare stuff. But yeah, so I've not been doing any of that. So I figure it all evens out. Maybe
Outro.
not.
Yeah.
Outro. Okay.
It's
Tim,
time.
where can we find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Our Toy Journey, and I'm actually going to be doing a trip in about a week's time, and hopefully I'll be able to go online with you guys next week from a hotel if I have enough bandwidth. But Our Toy Journey on YouTube, and as well as Instagram and Facebook. But hopefully I'll have some new videos up within a couple of weeks. Finally,
Cool.
I'm going to try to ignore the trolls. Trolls have got to me for a while. I just got sick of it.
Yeah. Live for yourself, not for other people.
Yeah,
That includes the negative too.
yeah. So,
Cody?
I'm Cody Stratman, also known as Psychonitrous, Zito Valder, Roaming Geek. You can find me on various places like Instagram, Zito Valder, Steam, Psychonitrous, Blizzard, Zito Valder for some reason. And I always say this, but things will be getting slightly less chaotic for me. So hopefully I'll be starting to edit and do stuff more. I keep saying this and it hasn't happened. But yeah, we'll see.
but you're going to be busier in 2 weeks.
Kind of, but I'll have a more structured day, and then I'll have the big thing for me is like the go up to like renewing my visa, and like that stress of doing that, and then when it resets and it's renewed, it's like
Right.
okay, stress free for a while. So yeah, that's life as an expat in Thailand.
Yeah, I have to do it in November myself. So
Yeah, that's always the like, all the paperwork stuff. But anyway, Mjolnir, where can we find you, good sir?
I am Charlie Stiffler, also known as Mjolnir, spelled wrong, so always get it right. You can find me on YouTube and Twitch as Mjolnir, Steam, Facebook, Instagram, all the things. I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me.
Gazoo.
Yeah,
So you-
that's what I've got. Brandon, take us home.
I am Brandon Vader, also known as Dracanis. You can find me on. I was trying to find what server I'm on New Earth.
Oh, on New World, New Earth.
Yeah,
We're getting this
USA.
mixed.
Sorry. New World. I am Dracanis Vader on USA West. Ortega, Ortygia. If you want to battle with me, I'm on the Syndicate faction on that server. Or if you want to try and fight me, come at me, bro. I will
Probably lose.
musket you in the face from very far away with my elite musketing skills. And you
In
can
other
join
words, he'll
any
die
of the
like a
other.
bitch.
Oh yeah. Once you get close to me, absolutely. If you stay over there, then you will die. But yeah. Otherwise, you can also find me on thetechpirate.net, where I swear I am working on a review for this. I will probably wait to take more pictures until I get the screen fixed.
Unfucked, yes.
Yep. Because I did not take enough B-roll footage of it before I very ungraciously dropped it on its face. But
I mean, that's part of the
Anyway.
review.
oh, totally, it's going to be in there. That just
Yeah.
because it's Invictus glass doesn't mean that it's
yeah. And the process of getting it fixed is gonna be good to your topic as well.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it'll be a very, very complete review. I don't know whether or not it's just going to be written. I should probably try and do a video review, but it takes so much more time and effort. But anyway, thanks for joining us on this episode of This Week I'm Learning. You can find us on wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as on YouTube at This Week I'm Learning. For you social media peeps out there, you can find us on Twitter at ThisTWIL. If you'd like to send an email to us, or if you'd like to contact us, you can, of course, send an email to twill@thetechpirate.net. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Use a case. Use a case.
Buy a better phone.
Oh.
So what are you guys gonna do with the day?
Get the
am
big,
going-
big,
go to
huge
bed.
filter installed.
I think I'm gonna go to Bangkok Bank
Nice.
and see if I can get that card, because I really want to get my Steam store changed.
If not, then open another bank account.
I don't know if I can quite yet.
Okay.
Because
Once you get
remember,
your education visa, then.
yeah, I'm an
other-
American and nobody wants to deal with the IRS. So, and yeah, the bad things about being an American. But yeah, there's another way I might be able to do it via PayPal. I haven't explored that option yet, so we'll see. I hate PayPal so much. That's why it's the last place I want to turn in order to try and do this.
Just tell them you want a Visa debit card or a Visa credit
Yeah.
card that just withdraws from your bank account.
Yeah.
Because that worked for me for all my online stuff.
That's why I'm hoping that they're reasonable about that. We'll see. I also want to go. When I was in Konkan, like I went to the mall there, and there were like these people just like lined up, like Disneyland long line at the mall for these things called like Little C, like Little Cakes by Cakewalk or something. But apparently it's this place in Bangkok at Prong Pong, BTS. So I want to stop by there and see what all of the rage is about. But I mean,
Are
people
these
were getting
shoes.
no, they're like cupcakes, like sweet,
That's
type people.
a Thai thing though. That it's like a fad and an Instagram moment. So
Yeah.
huge, so huge. Yeah,
But
either
I
a
wanna
coffee
see if
shop
it's-
or a new type of store. Even Tim
Yeah.
Hortons here when they open. Everybody had to be seen at the Tim Hortons.
Yeah, I still want to see, because I mean, people were buying, like, it wasn't just like taking a picture one. People bought shopping carts, like a full shopping cart of this. And I got in line, and I was told, somebody came up and was like, "Do you speak Thai?" And I'm like, I just said no, because I'm like, no, I've learned that, like, if I say Neat Noi, then they're like, "Oh, you must speak fluent Thai," and then I get, like, I'm like, no. And I've decided, okay, not enough for this conversation that we're about to have that's going to get somewhat technical.
Yeah, yeah.
And then she's just like, well, you have to get a number first in order to get in line to buy it. And she said this all way nicer than what I'm putting it, the Thai way. And she's like, "I'm so sorry, but we're out of numbers." And I was there at like 1, and they're like, "What?" Or 12 o'clock, and they're like, "We might have numbers again at 3 o'clock." And I went back there, and I did some other stuff in the mall. I went back there at 3, and it was just like the line was twice as long, and I'm just like, and I Googled it and found out that there's a place in Bangkok, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is super popular here, because otherwise they'd have to fly to Bangkok to get one.
So
Either way, I'm not doing this.
So how did this Konkan trip go? I didn't hear anything about it.
It was very uneventful and somewhat boring, and I want to go back. It was pretty much, there was a good deal on a flight, and I wanted to get on a plane again. I want to go back to Isan, but I think I really want to rent a motorbike or something, or go there on a motorbike, because I think that would be the way to explore it. And it's totally different than what I thought it would be like in my mind. I thought, I'm like, okay, like farming country. In my mind, I'm like, okay, it's going to be like Nebraska and just as miserably hot in the summer. Like, it's going to be like, dull earth tones and like dusty, dry, and just miserably dusty, dry with snakes.
Not
Like-
Konkan, but there are mountainous places in Isan as well.
Yeah,
Really hilly
and that
and-
was my mind. And when we were flying there, actually, I had some pictures of the flood like there's a huge
Mm.
amount of like extra water and flood north of Bangkok that's like
Mhm.
slowly moving towards us, and I guess areas on the river are going to get flooded. I'm very far from the river, so it shouldn't affect me. But yeah, no, very lush, very, you know, it's pretty cool. I walked around there for a while. Yeah, it's pretty different than what I thought it was. So it's cool to have like, you know, conceptions or and then find out they're misconceptions.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
yeah, that was
Very cool.
that was fun.